Gosh, that had to be one of the most suspenseful scenes in the film. It's such a great scene. And wait till you see how the Terminator gets the TX off the roof of the car. It's so cool. Now, what's also cool is we have the major players that are in that scene. Kristanna Loken.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. The man who called all the shots, of course, director Jonathan Mostow, is also here. And, of course, my co-host, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the star of T3. All right, guys, let me ask you this. It's been 12 years since the last film came out. So what was the major thing? What took so long?
I only came on a few years ago. Before that, you'd probably have to talk to the lawyers. Yeah. I think this was a very complicated deal. You know, the rights for this movie were tied up in all sorts of legal limbo for many, many years.
What was your first meeting like?
Well, I went over to his house, and Arnold answered the door, and there he was, larger than life. He gave me a bowl of oatmeal, which is still the best oatmeal I've ever had in my life.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And we talked about the movie over oatmeal.
And what was it about Jonathan that convinced you this was the man to do it?
This movie, it's very important that you understand that you have to be an expert in suspense, in story, in developing the characters, in action, in visual effects, in stunts, in all of those things. So there are very few people around that can do all of those things. And Jonathan was definitely the one that was our favorite.
So we had you and then the director, and then you needed the female, who's the TX, Kristanna Loken. Kristanna, tell me about the call when they said, you know, you're going to be auditioning for the Terminator movie. What was that like?
My agents thought that it was a great role for me with my size and physique and height and voice and everything, and it was just kind of a right marriage. And I had always been a fan of the first two, so went in first a couple times and read for Jonathan, and then I had some very strange physical auditions with him. It was a lot of, you know, running to the end of the room, stopping, turning, looking, jumping over the box, falling down, getting up, punching, kicking, that sort of thing. And he really didn't say anything during that whole process, so I thought to myself, am I falling the way he wants me to fall? Am I looking the way he wants me to look? But I guess, as we know, it ended up working out.
Jonathan was actually the one that looked at, I mean, endless amount of women. I mean,
yeah, I couldn't get any sympathy from my friends because we looked at over 10,000 actresses, you know, beautiful women from all over the world, and that's a tough job, but there's no pity for that.
Yeah, I remember that I was skiing in Sun Valley, and Jonathan sent me the videotape of the top 6 contenders. And I got the videotape, and I invited that afternoon all of my skiing buddies. There was like 15 guys who came over to the house, and I put the video in, and I said, let's all together now make a decision. I'm curious how much we are in sync with this whole thing. I had no idea who was on this video yet. I nothing. So we put the video in, and it was very clear, right? As soon as we went through all 6, it was very clear that Kristanna was the one that everyone wanted to be with. So I mean, it was very clear. So we said, okay. So I called Jonathan and I said, you know, this is Kristanna Loken that everyone here thought was absolutely fantastic. And I thought that she looked so pretty, and her movements and the way she does her kicks and her fighting and all this stuff is extraordinary. She comes already with a background of, you know, athletics and all this. And he said, well, that's the one that is my favorite. So we all were kind of in sync with that.
Wow. Kristanna, you had no idea, huh?
No, thanks for sharing that story with me, Arnold. That's a really great story. I can just have a good visual of that.
All these guys sitting around. No, that's great. And I know you did get a little black and blue, and I believe Jonathan has some evidence of this. Jonathan?
Well, it's one of the sort of the things you feel a little bit guilty when you do a movie like this. One day, Kristanna came to me, and she handed me a Polaroid, and it was her entire backside naked, and it was pretty much black and blue.
Stop it.
Yeah, I felt really bad.
But you know what? The magnetism scene looks great, so, you know, a little pleasure with pain never hurt anybody.
No, and I think she's recovered just fine. And guys, I wanted to ask you, too, you know, she has that incredible, basically it's like a machine gun arm. You know, how does that work? Is it a prosthetic, and then later you go into, you know, it's computer generated when it's spinning and that sort of thing? Because people watch that and they're like, how did they do that?
Well, it's a mixture of technologies. I mean, the key thing in a movie like this is never use the same technology twice in a row. So we're always mixing stuff up so the audience doesn't quite understand how we're doing it to create the illusion of it being real. So sometimes it's computer generated, sometimes it's a prosthetic created by Stan Winston Studios, and you know, more than that, I don't want to tell you because
Yeah.
I don't want to let all the magic out.
But that was the incredible thing about the powers that the TX, the female Terminator, has, because that's what makes it so threatening. Because it is, she has the Terminator, the model that I play. I have to go and find the guns if I want to use guns. Like in the first Terminator, I had to go into the gun shop and get the guns and all this. But she doesn't. She can produce any weapon at any given time out of her hands.
It's pretty
really
incredible. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Kristanna.
really wish I had some of those powers in my day-to-day life, I'll tell you that much.
I'm sure you do. But Kristanna, how cool was it seeing yourself on screen, with once it's all done and seeing like your arm and yourself? I mean, it must have been incredible.
It's been a dream come true. This whole journey really has been. It's been a wild ride, and I've just been grateful and enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, to do a film of this size and then see it all come together and work with someone like Arnold and feed off of his energy, so empowering, and to be able to create with Jonathan. I mean, overall, it's just been such a great experience.
Well, it is a great movie. The end result is just terrific. And Kristanna, thank you so much for joining us from New York.
My pleasure.
Jonathan, thanks for joining us. And
Thank
Arnold,
you.
you stick around, okay? And we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back.